First of all, Mr. Hunt, I would like to say that I cannot wait for you to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to say what I've seen from your organization, I'm ready. Whenever you're on television in that jacket, I'll be like, that's my guy right there. So congratulations on just massive success over the past decade.
Yeah, well, I sure appreciate it. It's absolutely been a very special time to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Really from the day that Andy Reid walked into the building in 2013, we've been building for this moment. We've had an incredible amount of success over the last 6 years, and hopefully we'll be able to carry that forward.
The legend of the Andy Reid interview is 9 hours. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, and it's hard to believe in retrospect. I'm not sure what we talked about for 9 hours, but it was a great opportunity to really get to know each other, and I think we just realized that we had tremendous chemistry, and that the relationship was going to be a good fit. I also had a lot of my staff there who got to spend time with Andy, which I think was good for them and as well as good for Andy. And there was just a lot of comfort all the way around. And we were able to get him to Kansas City later that week, and he's been there ever since.
How important was culture versus X's and O's when making that decision?
Well, we'd been through a very challenging couple of seasons leading up to that hiring in 2013. And I felt that we needed a very experienced leader, somebody who had experience in championship games, which Andy certainly did. Interestingly, our 2012 team had, I believe, 6 Pro Bowl players on it, and that was a team that won only 2 games. So it wasn't like we didn't have some talent on the roster. And I think what Andy did when he arrived in Kansas City was he really changed the culture. He changed the expectations. He changed the relationship between the coaching staff and the players. And he was able to immediately get off on a great start. The team won 9 straight games at the beginning of that 2013 season. And I just think it shows, what a great coach he is, both from a culture standpoint as well as from the X's and O's.
What is the feeling from you going into this Super Bowl as opposed to the last 2?
Well, they're all different, but they're all very special. It's just so dang hard to get to a Super Bowl. That's certainly something that we understand in Kansas City as we went 50 years between Super Bowl 4 and Super Bowl 54 when we finally made it back. To be in a period where we've gone 2 years and now we're getting to go 3 years is, really, hard to get your head around. They're all huge challenges. There's a lot that goes into the week, but we're very excited. We have a great opportunity, and that's really all you can ask for. It's what we work for the entire year, starting in the spring, working through training camp, winning the division, getting the number 1 seed. Those are all just building blocks towards being able to go to the Super Bowl, and we're thrilled to be back.
If I was the owner, I'd want to do like player stuff. Do you ever go work out with the players, like cut off a shirt and hop in?
During training camp, when I spend more time around the team, I will occasionally end up in the gym with the players, and I have to say it's very humbling or maybe even humiliating.
That's awesome. I feel like I would be doing that all the time. When do you leave to go to the game and like set up? And do you do an Airbnb or a hotel, or what do you do?
We'll be in a hotel in New Orleans. It's a very long week. I'll actually go in at the beginning of the week and be part of the media that takes place Monday night, and then do some more media on Tuesday. And then I'll typically go home for a couple of days and then come back on Thursday and spend the rest of the week there through hopefully what is a victory celebration late Sunday night.
Do you get nervous before games, and do you get really nervous before the Super Bowl?
Over time, I've become less nervous, and maybe it's just through experience. My nerves are very calm before games. However, when the ball is kicked off and you get into the inevitable ebbs and flows that you have in any football game. My emotions will ride the roller coaster of the game. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I've learned over the years to have a lot of trust in Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the rest of his teammates.
More great folklore I'd like to run by you. The folklore of the Mr. Clark Hunt graduating first in his class at SMU. True or false?
It's hard to believe, but it's true. I have several children who are at SMU or have recently graduated from SMU, and it's a great university, and I had an amazing experience there. I'm not sure how I pulled that off.
After the game, do you have two plans? Plan A, win, contingency plan, plan B?
You have to really have only one plan. And of course, our hope and our thought process will be geared towards winning the game. We have a big celebration after the game, and that celebration takes place regardless of how the game plays out.
Man, it would be a little tougher to go, though, the other way around. Not that you have any experience with that because you've been killing it, but it would be tough because I've lost things and had to go to things, and I'm out the door pretty quick. Do you lay your clothes out? You already know what you're going to wear the game night because you got to look. They're going to be looking at you. You're like the most famous owner, one of them.
Yeah, I'm not quite there, much to my wife's chagrin. She's been talking to me about getting my game clothes ready. That's something I'll probably focus on late Wednesday night as I'm packing to head to the game.
Do you have like a little bit of do you need to wear like little bits of red if you're going to wear a suit? Like, I know you have your Chiefs pin on now, but there's got to be something. It's like if you're president, you got to have a flag on at all times. Like, you got to be chiefing it up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much every Christmas, my wife gives me a new red blazer. So I have about 100 of those in the closet. So I'll pick out a few of those to wear to the game. And then for the Super Bowls, the last 3 Super Bowls that we've won, Mark Donovan, our president, Brett Veach, our general manager, coach when he's not on the sideline, and I have all worn the same blazer. And it's a throwback blazer that goes back to Super Bowl IV. And it's interesting in that the Chiefs logo on it is backwards, which I would love to ask my dad, why was the Chiefs logo backwards back in 1969? But it was. And so we'll probably wear those blazers again.
Patrick Mahomes as a person, what's he like? What's your relationship like with him as people?
Yeah, he's just an awesome human being. As good a football player as he is, he's an even better person. Of course, everyone knows about his leadership ability in the locker room, but he's a guy that really cares about the people around him. And I think that's part of the reason why his teammates love playing with him, is that they know that he cares about them both on and off the field. He's a terrific guy, lots of fun, loves to play golf. He's a tremendous family man. Just had that third baby, and it's so much fun to get to see him be a dad.
I want to make a comparison, and you're definitely way more successful, way smarter, and better looking than me. But when I started to have a bit of success and I was like touring, I'd have all these people come up, be like, "I'm your cousin, let me get tickets." When you guys started to crush it, did you have more friends all of a sudden that wanted to be like, on the field? "Oh, Clark, it's me, your buddy from high school."
That's one of the blessings that comes with having a little bit of success. And I have a great group of friends, and I love having them around for these championship opportunities. That's something when I look back on this time period that I'm going to remember, getting to celebrate it with my family and friends. So that's totally a positive that I've got some guys that have reached out that I haven't seen in a little while.
Yeah, I had people on 23andMe, I had 1% match. They were like, "I'm your cousin, let me get in." See, I'd be afraid with the Chiefs. It'd be a lot worse than that, Mr. Hunt. I'm always super curious about successful people and driven people, like what they read. Like, I would imagine you're a studious person. Like, what are your favorite books?
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of time to read books. I spend a lot of time reading literature that's related to the sports business and just sort of staying up on what's going on, both in the National Football League and you probably know that we're also involved in Major League Soccer. So it's really more focused on newspapers and magazines that you, of course, access online today that really, help me stay up to speed on what's going on.
What about listening to people that have opinions that have no idea what they're talking about? Do you ever come across that, like on social media, or anybody like, this guy thinks he knows everything, but he doesn't?
Certainly, social media has changed how we consume news, and it's opened up the ability to have a lot of other people that are commenting on sports, and so you've got a lot more perspectives out there. Not everybody's going to agree, and that's okay.
When you were growing up, who was your favorite player?
It was Lynn Dawson. I grew up during that era where the Chiefs went to Super Bowl won and lost, and then made it back in Super Bowl IV and beat the Minnesota Vikings. I got to spend some time around the team as a kid with my dad, and Lynn was definitely a hero for me. I was also a big fan of Jan Stenerud because I was a soccer player. And Jan, of course, was one of the first soccer-style place kickers in the National Football League, and so I loved getting to hang out with him as well.
We have three more questions for you, Mr. Hunt, and you're sitting in front of a wall of accolades, a team accolades for sure, a lot of balls. Which ball behind you brings up the quickest, greatest memory?
Well, I'm not going to stand up and pick one of the balls, but one of them back there has the signatures of our Super Bowl team from 2019. And that was obviously special because it was our first trip back to the big game in 50 years. And, being able to get across the finish line there and win that game, that was so special.
How cool that Kansas City is a small market as far as other NFL teams, and you guys have been so dominant. There's got to be pride in like being the little man and like taking it to it, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about the National Football League is the way the system is set up. Every year, all 32 teams have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. There's a lot of parity, a lot of equality, and certainly we've benefited from that in Kansas City. It's been fun to see our fan base grow over the last 6 to 10 years. In a lot of metrics, we're either number one or two in terms of the largest fan base, both in the U.S. and as well as internationally. So it's been special to see that. I know it's something that my dad would have really enjoyed if he was here to see it.
And my final question for you, Mr. Hunt, I'm not asking anything of you particularly, but I got invited. I think they think I'm finally cool enough to go to the commissioner's dinner, that event that's happening on, I think, Friday night. So I finally get the invite to go. And if I come up and say, "Hey, Mr. Hunt, it's Bobby," we just act like you know me. So people think I'm cool. I just want to like have people be like, "Oh, he must be cool if Mr. Hunt knows him." Can we like exchange like a cool, "Hey, what's up, buddy?"
Yeah, absolutely. How about a little high five?
Let's go. Yes. And you point at me like, "This is my guy. He knew all along." And if we do that, man, the world is my oyster then. Congratulations, Mr. Hunt. Thank you for spending, the last 15 minutes with us. I have been rooting for you guys since the beginning. I'm a diehard as far as the Chiefs go. I'm so pumped for this game. And I hope that there is no contingency because let's win 3 in a row is what I say. Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Yeah, thank you. It's great being on with you.
There he is, Mr. Clark Hunt, Chiefs owner, CEO. All right.